Trappings and Trinkets Knitting Podcast, and I'm your host, Nicole. So today I've got a bunch of sewing, a little bit of knitting, and a couple of other random things to talk about. And now that I'm trying to see out of these glasses, I realize they're all smeary and gross. So let me just take a moment and wipe them off. So I'm going to start with these lovely leg warmer / glasses cleaners right here. These are made from Simplicity Pattern 8422, and it's a very easy legging pattern. This is the same pattern that I used for the leggings that I showed you in the last episode, and I feel like I'm really getting good at it. So I kind of tailored the pattern exactly to me, and so now all I have to do is cut them out and sew them together, and it's really a piece of cake. This is made from Ponte fabric, and so that's a combination of rayon, nylon, and spandex, and so it really does have a nice stretch to it. So I did not have to use any elastic in the waistband. This stays up just fine. Now I have another pair which are super cute, and they have sushi on them. And these are more of a sweatpants fabric. So I made them, I put them on. They kind of wanted to fall down, so since I don't want to drop my drawers in public, I opened the waistband back up, and I actually just put elastic in the back of it. So along my back, it will stretch. But I didn't feel like I needed it in the front of the waistband at first, but after wearing these once to an exercise class, I really do need it all the way around. So I think I'm going to open up the waistband a second time. So it's not a huge deal. I just have to pick out all these stitches, open the waistband back up, and then I'll just do a full elastic all the way around. And I'm using thick elastic. It's this thick. What is that? 1 inch, I think. So I'll just put it all the way around, and that way my pants won't fall down in the middle of ballet class. So that will be good. So anyway, I would highly recommend this pattern, Simplicity 8422. I said this in the last episode. The only thing that I would say about that pattern is I had to cut a size that is much smaller than what my measurements would have told me to cut if I had just looked at, well, actually, I did start by cutting. I was right in between the medium and large measurements, and so I just cut right between the medium and large lines to kind of make a half size. But when I sewed those together, they were super huge, and so I ended up cutting them down until I finally got a size which, once I laid my finished leggings back out on top of the pattern to see like what size I should have cut, it was the small size. So I was like a size and a half smaller on this pattern than the measurements on the chart told me that I should be. And it's really just due to the fact that for most people, you're going to use very stretchy fabric for your leggings. So I'm not sure why that wasn't figured in when they sized the pattern, but that would be my only thing that I would want you to know, is that you would want to make sure that your sizing is right. And it might not make a lot of sense when you look at the chart on the outside of the pattern. I'm kind of talking a mile a minute today. I've left this podcasting till the end of the day on Friday, and my kids are going to be home from school in 27 minutes. So I'm going to do my best to make this a half-hour podcast. So I was just speaking of these leggings. So I've been really enjoying a new class at my gym this year. I had a friend call me up. It was like the second week of January, I think, and she asked if I wanted to go try the ballet bar class at our gym, and I'll try almost anything once. So I said, sure, I'll go. And we both went, and I absolutely loved it. It was way more of a workout than I would have thought. It was really intended as like a 50 and up class, but I didn't know that, and neither did she. So we walk in there, and there actually was one other woman that was in her mid-40s, so we weren't too far off. But because it is meant as a 50 and up class, I thought, oh well, this will probably be an easier class. I am just as sore from that class as I am from any other kind of exercise I do. It really is a very good strengthening workout. A lot of the movements are done really slowly and intentionally. And, when you're lifting up your legs and slowly bringing them down and moving them to different positions, it really does, you know, you're using the weight of your own body to build up your muscles, and it really is a good workout. So my teacher was actually telling us if we wanted to do any of these workouts at home, and if we just, you know, couldn't remember what to do, there is a really good YouTube ballet bar and other, she does like all sorts of ballet kind of classes on YouTube. So I looked her up. Her name's Catherine Morgan, and a lot of the videos that I see her doing, like those are kind of the same things we're doing in class. So I can tell you from experience, they're a really good workout. You don't necessarily need a bar in your house. You just need something that is like, maybe like a couple inches above your waistline, about that high off the ground. So for me, the things that I have in my house that are that tall are the backs of my chairs. So it's real easy to, you know, you just need something that you can hold on to steady yourself. Because as you're doing all these movements, it is hard to keep your balance sometimes. So it's a lot safer probably when you're just starting out to make sure you have something that you can hold on to. And if you have wood floors or tile or, you know, just some sort of hard surface floors, that's going to be probably where you want to do it rather than on a carpeted floor, because a lot of the movements are sliding movements when your foot is on the floor. So that's a little bit easier to do when you have a slick surface. When we're in class, you don't want to have bare feet because your feet will stick to the ground. And actually cotton socks are also not great, but wool socks, for all my knitters, the wool socks were great because they are a lot slicker than cotton socks. Or you can buy ballet shoes on Amazon or lots of places online. I think there's one called Discount Dance Supplies or something like that. But they're like $20. So it's not a huge investment, and the YouTube classes are free. So if you're looking for a new workout routine, you might want to give that a try. Shall we talk about my shirt? That's right. Let's take a look. So the front, you can see the hem poking right through my leg. So it's a high-low hem. The hem in the back is quite a bit longer than the hem in the front. And then the back, notice the billowy nature of this butt flap here. So that is a little bit more than I would want. But this was my first attempt at it. So, you know, you figure out what you like, and the next time you make it, you change it a little bit differently. So on the back, you may have been able to tell that there's two panels here. So there's a top part, and then there's a seam right here, and then the bottom part is a separate piece. So that bottom part is quite wide, and then you have to baste it and make little gathers. So next time I make this shirt, which I would definitely make it again, I would cut the bottom panel a little bit less wide, and I would still make gathers. It would be a smaller piece. I do feel like this is very billowy, and I would like a moderately billowy. I would like a shirt I can eat cookies in, but not a shirt that feels like a circus tent. So this was a little bit too tenty for me, but because the back is long, let's take another look, shall we? So because the back is long, this actually is a really good shirt to wear with leggings or really tight pants if you don't want your butt on display. So see, it's a little bit too giant. It is a great pattern. For this one, I did make the size that, you know, I looked at the chart, and I made the size that I qualified for on the chart, and that worked great. The only modification I made on this was the neckline. Haunted. The only modification I made was the neckline. This actually had a higher neckline than what I cut here. So I think the neckline in the pattern probably went up to about here. And I'm just not, like, I really like a nice scoop neck on my shirts. I don't like shirts I have to, like, feel like I'm being reborn when I put them on, if you know what I mean. So I actually just cut the pattern a little bit with a lower scoop in the neck. And that way when I put it on the fabric, then it came out perfect. So it worked really well. Everything fit together nicely. It wasn't difficult to put together. It was just, you know, a dozen steps or so, and real easy. So the shirt pattern is this new look. I believe this is, yeah, it's a simplicity line of patterns. And it's SO184 is the pattern number. I made this one right here. So see how high that neck is? So I cut my neck down a little bit. I would totally make this as a long sleeve shirt as well, or they have this little 3/4 sleeve shirt. I have not made any leggings off of this pattern just because I was so happy with the leggings from the other pattern that I made. And I mean, let's face it, if you're just doing plain leggings without pockets or anything fancy, like the patterns are mostly the same. So I just stuck to the one that is already cut in the right size. Why complicate things? And the fabric I got was from fabric.com, and it has a little bit of a kind of like a polyester-y feel. It was really hard to tell, when that is the chance you take when you buy fabric online. You don't really know what you're gonna get. You can look at the fabric content, and I'm sure this was some sort of synthetic, whether it was rayon or polyester, I don't really remember, but I knew it was going to be some sort of synthetic thing. So it's a nice weight though. I haven't worn it on a really warm day yet. I'm not sure if it will be great for like really hot summer days, but it is a perfect shirt for a spring day. I'm also wearing today this little necklace that I made, and this was just a little Hobby Lobby locket. It even opens up if I can get my fingernail in there. Nope, now I'm going to be a liar. It really does open up. There we go. Little Hobby Lobby locket. And I just put it on a chain, and then I used my little jewelry tools to put the clasps on there. So I might be able to, I'll see if I can dig up a YouTube video that would show you how to do that in case you're interested in making jewelry. This one, actually, I could have bought a pre-made chain and just put this on because it has quite a large hole here. Sometimes these charms have a very small hole, and you actually have to put them on the chain before you put the clasps on. Otherwise, they won't fit over the clasps. So this one could have been even easier if I had just bought a pre-made chain, but it's not difficult to put a clasp and a hook on a chain. So that's what I'm wearing today, kids. So let's talk knitting, shall we? So you want to see my boring pattern, or my boring project that I can't really show you? This is my Cashluxe Fine sweater. Sweet Georgia is the yarn. It's beautiful. I love it. I've got 2 arms. I've got half of a body, maybe a little bit more than half a body, and I have 1 skein of yarn left. So right now it's in timeout because my original idea, if it works, I would be using like every inch of the yarn I have, and it might end up an inch or 2 shorter than what I really wanted to do. So I have a backup plan, and I haven't decided yet if I want to go with the backup plan or if I want to take my chances and see how it turns out, trying to use the yarn that I have. So it's a little bit of a tricky situation, made trickier by the fact that this is a pattern that I am writing. And so, I want it to be the best it can be so that I can publish it and share it with other people. So I really don't want to, I don't want to settle, but at the same time, I only got 4 skeins of that yarn, and they didn't have any more at the store I bought it at, so the chance of me being able to get more of that dye lot are probably not great. So we'll see. I might get back to work on that next week if I can decide once and for all which way I'm going to go with it. The other thing that I've been working on in the meantime, since I can't make up my mind about that sweater, is some gorgeous socks made from Brew City yarn. And I forgot to look at the label, so I'll put the colorway right here on the screen once I'm editing. But isn't that pretty? Look at that yarn. Can you see the little gold flecks in there? Oh yeah. So these are turning out great. They're just plain vanilla socks. Plain with some ribbing on the cuff. I just did them toe up because I'm lazy and I don't want to swatch, and I do toe up socks because then I can just make the toe as big as it needs to go to kind of squeeze over my toe, and that's when I know I have enough stitches and I can just go round and round and round. So isn't that fun? See those little gold flecks? Oh, I'll be so fancy with my shiny socks. I can wear them to Studio 54, and me and Madonna can dance the night away in our handmade socks. I'll have to make a second pair so that Madonna can have one too. So while I was doing all my knitting and sewing this week, I was, of course, listening and watching different things. One of the podcasts that I like, Freakonomics, I'm sure I've talked about on this podcast before. The host of that is Stephen Dubner, one of the authors of the book Freakonomics, if you're familiar with that. He has been killing it lately with his Freakonomics podcast. I really enjoyed, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he had an author on. Actually, he's an author and a doctor. His name's Atul Gawande, and he has written a number of books. I think like 4 or 5 books maybe. And I've read at least 2 of them. If you enjoy reading nonfiction, if you are curious about medical stuff, and if you're a person, like the thing that really appeals to me, I think, about his writing, and really just him, like seeing his thought process, like the way he thinks about things, is that he is a person that is very obviously always, seeing what systems he's involved in, the procedures at his hospitals or at his practice. And he is always thinking about how could we be doing this better? Who is this system serving? And how could we change things to better meet our goals? So the podcast, when he was on Freakonomics, he was talking about how the healthcare system in our country, in America, is really not optimized for patient care. It's optimized for like billing and for doing tests and just different things that are kind of like more administrative, like hospital or doctor's office side, and less being optimized for patient care. So, and certainly not, like, he wasn't saying like they're doing this on purpose, they hate patients. It was really just like the people that set these systems up are the people on this side of the equation. And if we just tweaked some things here, we could do a much better job of serving our patients. So it was really interesting to listen to what he had to say about that. I'll put in the show notes links to a couple of his books that I've read and really enjoyed. I haven't read any of his books that I haven't enjoyed. So I really highly recommend his books, and I highly recommend that Freakonomics podcast from, let's see, it would have been about mid-April. The other show, like, I guess I've been on a medical kick here this week because I started watching a new show, and I'm almost embarrassed to say that I've been watching this because it's so terrible. So this show is called The Resident, and I found it, like, I think it was just in my Hulu, like, maybe you'll like these shows kind of list. And so I watched that, and it was terrible, and it has sucked me in, and I'm still watching. I think I'm on like episode 10, and it's terrible. So, and it's only terrible because it's like everything is very over dramatic. So if you really like over dramatic medical dramas, then you would like The Resident. Another thing that I was going to mention, and I can't remember if, I feel like maybe I mentioned this on the podcast, but I saw it months and months ago, but I heard that it was nominated for some kind of award here recently. Hassan Minhaj is a comedian, a stand-up comedian. You also may have seen him on The Daily Show. He works on that show. But he did a stand-up special called Homecoming King, and it is super, super funny, and also really kind of the moment and full of just really good stories. He is definitely trying to make some points with his humor, so I like that. It's funny I like jokes too, but I when my comedy is also laced with like real life kind of, I wouldn't even say lessons. He's not trying to teach you a lesson. He's trying to share an experience. That's what I like. When comedy is sharing a person's real life experiences, Like I find that to be more, that makes an impact on me more than just, standing up there and telling jokes about something that's not related to you. So if you haven't gotten the chance yet to see Homecoming King, and I'm pretty sure I saw that one on Netflix. So if you are a Netflix subscriber, check out Hasan Minhaj, Homecoming King. You will not be sorry. And I'm pretty sure that this is one that you could watch with your kids too. Young kids probably wouldn't be as interested, but I would say like junior high and up, that age kid would absolutely think it's just as funny as you will. So I think that's about it. I think this might be my shortest podcast ever. So I'm going to get to work on the show notes, and I think I have a lot of links to put in there today. I hope you have a wonderful couple weeks, and I will see you later. Bye.